Hi, good morning, everyone. I think we're going to get started. I apologize, we're starting a little bit late, but it's always a bit of a challenge to get people down from the ground floor up here. So we seem to have a quorum, so we're going to get started. And more importantly, we have the dean, so we should no longer delay. Good morning and welcome to SIPA's fourth annual Alumni Day. For those of you I haven't yet had the opportunity to meet, my name is Roger Bauman. I'm SIPA class of 1985. And I have the honor of serving as the chairman of the school's Alumni Council. This morning I have the honor of introducing SIPA's remarkable new dean, Robert Lieberman. But before I do, I want to just take a few moments to update you briefly on the activities of the Alumni Council. As some of you may recall, the council was created several years ago to help SIPA strengthen its alumni community by facilitating networking opportunities, fostering the connection between the school and its graduates, and providing a means for alumni to better communicate with SIPA and with each other. We were established in 2007, but the council was expanded last year and now comprises more than 50 people, including a 15-member executive committee and an additional 40 non-executive or plenary members, most of whom will be here today, so please, I encourage you to take a moment to introduce yourselves to them and to talk to them about the school and what the council is doing. The council operates through 4 committees focused on communications and outreach, events, careers and mentoring, and governance and nominations. And among other initiatives, over the past several months, members of the council have been working hard to more than double the size of our mentoring program, which now encompasses more than 200 students and alumni. I think it's a unique program. I don't know of any other school that has a program that allows alumni to mentor each other and that is of this kind of scale and geographic scope. We've also developed what we're calling an admissions ambassador program, which engages alumni around the world to meet with newly admitted students and answer their questions about SIPA and encourage them to attend. So I think that's helpful. We're really doing an outreach there to give people the best opportunity to understand SIPA from the people who know it best. We've also been expanding our events programming to provide additional opportunities for alumni to gather together, both for purposes of ongoing education and networking. So I guess by your attendance here today, at least some of that's working. And then we've also established SIPA's first ever reunions, including receptions this evening for alumni celebrating their 5th and 10th anniversaries of their SIPA graduation and the 20th anniversary of the PEPM program in economic policy management. So for those of you who are here for those events, welcome. Now, as all of you here today well know, one of the council's most important initiatives has been to conceive and help to organize SIPA's annual Alumni Days, which bring together SIPA students and faculty from around the world to discuss the key issues of our time. With that objective, today's agenda will feature panel discussions on the global human rights crisis, the upcoming November election, energy and climate change, and the impact of social media on grassroots organizations. We're also delighted to welcome this year's keynote speaker, Bob Kopech, who is SIPA class of 1977 and a member of the school's advisory board. He currently serves as Vice President and Group Chief Risk Officer of the World Bank, and Bob will share with us his insights on the World Bank and global economic policy in a talk at lunch entitled Myths, Mendacity, and Mismanagement, which I thought actually was what I studied when I was here at SIPA and helped get me through. We have approximately nearly 250 alumni registered here today, and so this is our largest Alumni Day ever. And before proceeding further, I would just like to ask those members of the Alumni Council who are present here today to stand up briefly, mostly so that I can tell who's here and who's not. But really, if all of you could just join me in giving them a hand, they really have put a lot of work into making sure this happens. So thank you, guys. And again, please introduce yourselves to them throughout the day. I don't know about you, but when I graduated from SIPA way back in the Pleistocene era, 20 years went by before I ever heard from the school. And when I did hear from the school, I quickly informed them of that circumstance, and yet somehow they sucked me in again, and here I am. And I hope we'll do the same with you, but I hope we're doing a better job reaching out to you giving you events and communicating with you so that you do stay in touch with the school and you feel like the school is doing a better job of staying in touch with you. I'm sure there's more we can do. I'm sure you all have suggestions about other things we can do, so feel free to grab me or even better, another member of the Alumni Council and let us know what we can do better. Finally, I'd like to encourage any of you who are interested in becoming future members of the Alumni Council or who have other questions or suggestions on how to improve the alumni experience to please speak either with me or with Scott Pesner, our new Director of Alumni Affairs. Scott, standing in the back, maybe we could just give him a round of applause as well. Scott and his team do all the heavy lifting for which I get to stand up here and take credit. So thank you, Scott. We really appreciate all the work you're doing. Now, with all that out of the way, I'm sincerely honored to be able to introduce SIPA's new dean, Robert Lieberman, who, as you know, took over in February when Dean Coatsworth was appointed provost of Columbia University. A professor of political science and public affairs, Dean Lieberman began teaching at SIPA in 1994. In 2007, he became chairman of the Department of International and Public Affairs, and he served as vice dean from 2009 to 2011. Dean Lieberman received his BA from Yale University and his MA and PhD from Harvard. He's an award-winning political science who has focused his research on American political development, race and politics, and social welfare policy. A focal point of Dean Lieberman's work has been the recrafting of global public policy education for the 21st century. In 2009, he co-chaired the process of restructuring SIPA's curriculum and subsequently has been instrumental in attracting to SIPA new internationally accomplished faculty. The author of too many books and the recipient of too many awards to mention here, Dean Lieberman is uniquely qualified to lead SIPA at this important time, and it gives me great pleasure to give him the floor so that he can update all of you on the remarkable developments underway at SIPA today and share with you his vision for an even more exciting future. Dean Lieberman.
Thank you, Roger. It's a real pleasure to be here and to see a full room of SIPA graduates from spanning the decades. I want to welcome you, and I want to add my welcome to Roger, to all of you, to SIPA's third annual Alumni Day. As Roger said, we've got more than 200 of you registered. People were registering even over the course of the morning, I think. So it's really a thrill to see so many people here and to be able to reconnect so many of you with the school and so many of you with each other. I want to just offer a couple of thanks, and then, as Roger said, talk a little bit about the school and where I think we're going in the next couple of years. First of all, I want to thank all of our panel speakers, some of whom are SIPA faculty members, some of whom are generously coming from outside the immediate SIPA family, but generously spending a few hours with us on a Saturday, on a beautiful Saturday, beautiful-ish Saturday in New York, to help us celebrate the school. So thank you to all of our colleagues who have agreed to speak on panels today. A truly special thank you to Roger Bauman, who for a number of years now, since we began to hatch a plot to celebrate the 60th anniversary of the school in 2006, has been at the center of our efforts to build or rebuild an alumni base for the school, to connect the school back to all of you. And as a result of Roger's efforts, we now have not only a functioning alumni council, a great alumni day and every year, but we have a real platform for alumni efforts on behalf of the school. So I want to just thank Roger for his efforts. Connected to Roger's efforts, I also want to add my thanks to Scott Pesner, our new, in his first year as our Director of Alumni Affairs. Scott and his team have done a fantastic job setting up this day today, and I think you will all enjoy a fantastic day of events. I want to thank Bob Kopek, a member of our advisory board, who will be speaking at lunch. I also want to offer a special welcome to the graduates of PEPM, the Program in Economic Policy Management, who are, the PEPM is celebrating its 20th anniversary this year. Their celebration began yesterday with a day of reunions. went through last night, and will continue through today. We've got some PEPM breakout sessions this morning and this afternoon, and we'll conclude tonight with a dinner down at the Columbia Club down in Midtown. We'll welcome Danny Roderick, a founding faculty member of PEPM, who deserted SIPA to go to another institution to the north of here a few years ago, but it'll be great to have Danny back as our speaker this evening. For the first time this year, as part of Alumni Day, we're holding reunions, class reunions. So as part of the reception that you're all invited to later on at the Columbia Alumni Center down on 113th Street, we'll have targeted reunions. A 10th reunion for the classes of 2001 and 2002. Clearly, we have a little more work to do with our quantitative curriculum, and a 5th reunion for the classes of 2006 and 2007. So there's a lot of stuff going on today. It's going to be a great day, and I appreciate all the effort that's gone into it, and I welcome you to it. Let me talk a little bit about SIPA and why I think it's really important that we have put together this alumni network, because I think this is really SIPA's moment to shine and to flourish in a way that it hasn't yet reached its full potential, even in the 66 years that SIPA's been in existence here at SIPA. SIPA, I think, is poised to become what I would like to call, or what I like to think of as, the world's leading school of global public policy. And I want to dwell for a minute or two on this phrase global public policy, because I think that's really the best way to capture the essence of what it is that SIPA does and what it can do. It hardly needs to be said that we live, and we as policy professionals and policy educators operate in a globalizing world, a world that's more interconnected than ever before. And that renders the way that we have traditionally educated and trained policy professionals really inadequate, I think. Policy issues that you all deal with in your professional lives every day, that our students think about every day, that our faculty members think about every day, those issues cross political boundaries in a way that's never happened before in human history, really. There's no such thing as local public policy anymore, or even national public policy. Things that we do here in New York influence events and policy decisions that have to be taken elsewhere in the world. Things that happen everywhere in the globe change the context for our decisions that we make here in New York, or in Washington, or in London or Paris, or wherever we're doing our work and doing our thinking. We can't think about policy making in sort of discrete local or national or issue silos anymore. We have to think in an interconnected way. The world itself is more globalized and more interconnected than ever before. Information travels just about instantaneously around the world. People move seamlessly around the world. So we can't think about policy in a narrow, localized way anymore. And the global public policy arena goes well beyond the government sector. The traditional role of public policy schools in the United States was to train civil servants, to train people to work in the government to operate and manage public policies. That's not a sufficient way of thinking about the policy world anymore. The policy world encompasses the nonprofit and non-governmental sector, the private sector. There are things that happen in all of those sectors that influence the public good. And there are people working in all of those sectors who think of themselves as working on behalf of the public good. And we like to think that at SIPA, we are training students to have careers in a policy sector in which we assume that they will move over the course of a career among these sectors. We're not training people for a career in the public sector or in the nonprofit sector. We're training students for careers in the public policy world that encompasses all of these sectors. And those reflections point out to me and to my colleagues on the faculty and in the school and on the school staff and among the students the limits of what we might think of as the traditional approach to public policy education. It's not enough to train generalist technocratic students to do policy analysis and quantitative analysis and management. It's not enough to train students in international affairs on the sort of Cold War, the United States needs to learn about these places that might or might not be hostile to us model. What we need to do is to build a new kind of public policy school for the 21st century that embraces both of these things and combines them into what we at SIPA are coming to call global public policy. And we like to think of global public policy as a new field that combines the classic tools of public policy analysis and management with this new global orientation that is essential for our students and our alumni when they think about the world of public policy that they're entering. So what are the characteristics of global public policy? It begins with an orientation toward public service, which if you spend any time among this group, I think as you talk to each other over the course of the day, or if you spend any time in the building, in the SIPA building, and talk to SIPA students or just absorb the buzz around the building, you'll see that our students and our alumni are deeply devoted to public service. They are at SIPA. You were at SIPA, and you reflect on SIPA and come back to Alumni Day because you and they observe a broken world and want to fix it. That is shot through everything that happens at SIPA. Global public policy, secondly, is rooted deeply in the tools of social science and public policy analysis. We need to give our students the analytical tools that they need to diagnose carefully and the broken world and design solutions to fix the challenges that await us. But it's not enough to be a generalist. It's not enough just to be a strong quantitative analyst or a slick manager of organizations. You need to know something about something. Our students need to know something about the critical public policy issues that they're going to face, whether it's sustainability, the energy future, the future of global economic institutions and governance, the need to create and sustain livable cities for the now majority of the world's population that lives in urban areas, what have you. You can go on and on about those kinds of issues. Our students need to come out of the school with a deep knowledge of at least one of those things so that they can immediately make a difference. And finally, global public policy involves a global orientation. It involves students understanding the interconnected, global, international, transnational nature of the policy challenges that await them. Why is that SIPA's mission? Why is that the core of what we do, and why are we poised to become the best at it, if we're not already the best? One is we're here in New York City. This is the great global city of the world. It's a crossroads for policymakers. It's a source of knowledge. It's a source of adjunct faculty members and experts. It's a place where people come. It's a convening place. Our location here in New York allows us to draw on an extraordinary intellectual network of people, of institutions, of ideas. We're part of Columbia University, which is a great global university and is in the process of reimagining and re-implementing what it means to be a global university. We're creating a network of global centers around the world that gives us access not just to students who can learn from Columbia, but access to knowledge about the rest of the world. So SIPA is really building SIPA Columbia is really building a new model of what a global university can be, and SIPA is right at the center of that. We have extraordinary students. Our students are nearly 50% from outside the United States, and those from outside the United States are generally speaking typically from 80, 90, 100 countries around the world at any one time. We say 100, it's really in the 80s, but we round up. Again, we need better quantitative training. We have alumni in about 153 countries around the world, so there's an incredible network that starts the minute someone is accepted to SIPA, but extends over the course of a life and a professional career that is completely global. And you here and your colleagues in the SIPA alumni community around the world are a real testament to that. The faculty is equally international. They come from all over, they study the world, and our faculty blends world-class scholarship with the focus on the practice of global public policy and the global practice of thinking about public policy. Our research portfolio and the profile of what our faculty and students do in the research field is global. We have research initiatives underway in global economic governance, thinking about the financial crisis, what caused it, and what can be done to address that kind of challenge in the future. We're developing a new center on energy, which will be, we hope, at the center of policy discussions about the energy future of the United States and the world. War and Peace, the Saltzman Institute for War and Peace Studies, is a core part of SIPA's initiative. Sustainable development. Our research profile encompasses this vision of global public policy. And so I think that this, as I said, this is SIPA's moment to really reimagine what public policy education can be in a global world. And I invite you all to be part of it, to spend the day learning about what it is we do at SIPA, to think about these public, great global issues, and to stay engaged, to visit us, to mentor a SIPA student, or to find connections with other people in your field or in fields nearby, and to help us sustain and build that vision of global public policy, which encompasses you, our alumni, as much as it does our students and faculty. So again, I want to welcome you. We're going to have a great day. I want to thank you for coming, and I'll see you around the building over the course of the day. Thanks very much.